when you're this close to songs for as long as we were, you get very attached to all of them, but for quite different reasons, I think. But I can remember Dave playing me Dreamland, the chords of Dreamland, you know, the beginning of the song. And I just, the whole thing sort of immediately made a lot of sense to me, because, you know, he gave me the spiel first, the sort of, this is what I'm thinking, this is the plan. And then press play, and the opening chords of Dreamland happened, and I was like, shit, the door, you know, it felt like these kind of, I don't know, the way I still imagine it is these doors are opening, and there's like fog and, you know, stuff pouring out the doors, and you're walking up these stairs to walk through the doors of Dreamland into this world that he created. And it was very immediately obvious to me that had to be the beginning of the album, and it ended up being the end as well. There's a sort of outro, there's the sort of, the doors open again and you can leave, and then they shut. But yeah, that, you know, that there are, I can remember Dave playing me the beginning of Your Love as well, which was just like this like funky little guitar loop. And it was literally just that. It was like a 13-second loop of Dave playing ding, 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 and it was just that. And I was like, that we need to work on. He had like he had a little file of about 15 tiny nuggets like that. And I was like, that is going to be a single, that we need to work on that. And it was just like, you know, sometimes you just hear something, like it was just like an instantaneous moment of just like, that is going to go somewhere. So like I felt very excited about that. Heat Waves was there quite early, and like, you know, some of the songs happen, you know, and like Incredibly Loud. Have you heard the album? Yeah. So like Incredibly Loud. Back.
No worries.
Okay, here we go. Sorry. Like Incredibly Loud was like quite a long process. Like that, we started that very early, but didn't finish it until almost at the end, because we were just really desperately trying to sort of figure out how to like, it was sort of almost too big and too it was just, we couldn't get our hands around it or our head around it, and like trying to figure out the best way of it existing. We were trying to fit it into like a normal song structure, a traditional song structure, verse, chorus, and we're just like, this isn't made for that. That was not what this song was supposed to be. So kind of, you know, we had to sort of let it breathe in a way that we didn't have to do with Waterfalls, for example, which was just basically the demo. Dave just came to us and pressed play, and we were like, well, I mean, that's basically finished. And that happened on the last album a couple of times. Cane Sugar on the last album was essentially the demo. That the song that you have now was almost identical to the song that Dave sent us and played to us for the first time. And sometimes that happens. You throw so much stuff at it, but actually it just ends up being no better. So you go right back to the beginning. In fact, in Waterfalls, the only thing that changed was that middle eight, which is this weird kind of Spanish moment, which Ed ended up writing. But yeah, you know, and like my relationship with that song is no better or worse than with Heat Waves or Your Love. And I know it's not about better or worse, but like I kind of love them equally, but for very different reasons. And and like when I listened to Your Love for the first time, it was such an exciting moment of like, this whole process is happening again, and I'm here, and I can't believe I'm here and doing this again. And that like excitement of what turned out to be the sort of lead single from the album so early on was like really exciting. But then Helium, which is the last song on the album, which I think is certainly the one that moves me the most. It, like I find it really affecting. I think it tells a very beautiful story, and it takes you on a very weird journey. And it's not a traditional song structure. In fact, it's quite weird. It's quite like an anti-song structure. Hello. Yeah, and I think that like I love that song for that reason, because it's so different. But like those two songs, Your Love and Helium, to me are really quite different.